So guys, the next important account which comes under balance sheet under asset side is stock, or it is called as inventory. So what is stock? Stock is basically an unsold goods lying in the business on a particular date. What do you mean by this? So for example, I purchased 100 laptops, and in this 100 laptops, I sold 80 laptops. So what is the balance left? At the year end, that is at 31st March 2020, there are balanced 20 laptops. Can I say these are the laptops which is lying in the business as on 31st March 2020 and it is unsold? Can I say this 20 is unsold? This is purchased, this is sold, this is unsold. So this is called stock. Stock has got another name called inventory. So can I say stock is something what you own? Stock is something what you own? Yes?
Sir.
Yes. So this will come to your under balance sheet. It will come on the asset side. So this is called, can I call this 20,000, 20 laptops as closing stock? Closing means what? At the end of the year. So if I have stock left at the end of the year, I call it as closing stock. And if I have stock, so this stock which is closing stock today, can I say this will be the opening stock of the next year? So let's suppose this is April 19 to March 20, 31st March 2020. So on 31st March 2020, the closing stock is how much? 20 laptops. Can I say immediately on the next day, that is 1st April 2020, immediately the next day, can I say this closing stock will become opening stock? Because this is the opening of the current year. Can I say 1st April 2020 is opening of the next year?
Yes, sir.
So this is April 2019, 1st April 2019. This is 31st March 2020. And then we have next day, immediately after 31st March, we have 1st April 2020. So I have 20 laptops here. This is closing stock. Can I say this 20, when I carry forward in the next year, on the first day, this closing will become opening stock.
Sir.
So at the end of the financial year, if any stock is left unsold, it's called closing stock, which will become opening stock immediately the next day of the new financial year. Okay, not okay?
Okay, sir.
Right? Now, let me tell you one thing. I said you that when you prepare journal, so once again, let me erase this. Journal, from journal, you'll have ledger. From ledger, you'll have trial balance. And from trial balance, few items will go to trading and P&L account, and few will go to balance sheet. And I said you that if anything which goes to trading and P&L account will never go to balance sheet. If anything is going to balance sheet, that will never go to trading and P&L account. I repeat, from trial balance, all the items, all the accounts which are in the nature of income and expenses, gains and loss will go here. And all the items which are in the nature of asset and liability will come here. It will not go in two places. But closing stock is one item which will come in trading and P&L account and also in balance sheet. The logic behind this I'll explain when we do the final accounts. Always remember that closing stock is one such exceptional item. He's like a joker who will play for this team also and he's play for this team also. You getting my point? So why this happens? There's a beautiful logic behind it, which I will teach you when we come to final accounts. Rest all, you take anything. When you talk about cash, if you open the trial balance, if you have cash, this cash will go to your balance sheet under asset side. If you have anything called bank, this will go to your balance sheet asset side. If you have capital, it will go to your balance sheet liability side. If you have sales, that will go to your trading and P&L account. If you have purchase, this will go to your trading and P&L account. So if one account will go at only one place, I repeat, one account will go at only one place, but closing stock is an exception which will go at both these places. Okay, not okay?
Okay, sir.
Excellent. So yes, boss. No doubts? Okay, so we spoke about the 20 laptops. So this laptop is basically I buy it and I sell it. So this is with regard to the goods. Now there can be stock, closing stock with regard to raw material also, no? If I am in the a business of manufacturing laptop. Let's suppose that I purchased 1,000 buttons of laptops. I purchased, let's suppose, 200 screen of laptops. Then I purchased, let's say, 300 circuit board. Let's say I purchased 100 motherboard. Okay, there's so many different items. So these are basically all called as raw materials. Is it necessary that all the raw materials should be converted into laptop by the end of the year? Is it necessary?
No, sir.
Some will be remaining, no? If after converting few buttons, screens, circuit board, motherboard into laptop, there will be certain which will remain untouched. It will be lying as it is in the business, which I will be using into the next year. So as on 31st March, if any of these raw materials are lying idle, even that I will classify under raw materials. I will classify under raw materials. Correct? So this is closing stock of goods. This is closing stock of raw material. Any doubt in this point? Any doubts in this point, guys?
No, sir.
Are you clear with raw material? Okay. Now, what is the meaning of WIP? Any idea? What is the meaning of WIP? Any idea what is the meaning of WIP? Full form at least? Full form at least? Okay, now, WIP is known for work in progress. Work in progress. Now, I told you the full form. At least by now you can guess, no? What does this mean? So this is called as raw material. Each and every individual item is called as raw material. If I convert this into laptop is called as finished goods. So anything between raw material and finished goods is called WIP, which means what? I took the laptop, I attached the screen, and I attached the buttons. What is pending? Circuit board I did not add, motherboard I did not add. Can I say this laptop is work in progress? Can you call this as raw material? Screen
Yes,
is
sir.
attached, buttons is attached. Can you call this raw material? It is not raw material. Raw material means it should be individually there in the business. If it is combined together, if any of the two or more raw materials combined together, then it becomes work in progress. If I add circuit board, motherboard, then it becomes a finished product. So during the year end, on 31st March, some factory members have taken the buttons and attached the screen. So by the end of the day, the accounting year is over. By the end of 31st March night, the accounting year is over. So what will they do with the laptop? They'll destroy the laptop or again remove all the laptop parts? Not possible. So they'll have certain laptops which is half done. This is called work in progress. So this will be the closing stock of work in progress. You'll have closing stock of raw material, you'll have closing stock of work in progress, you'll have closing stock of finished goods. So basically 3 categories of closing stock. 3 categories of closing stock. Any difficulty in this? Any difficulty in this? Any difficulty in this, please? So stock can be of 3 kinds. Raw material, semi-finished goods is the nickname of WIP. Semi-finished, halfly finished goods. And third is finished goods. These are the 3 kinds of stocks. Stock can be of 2 types, opening stock and closing stock. I explained you what is opening stock and closing stock. Any difficulties in this, please?
No, sir.
Others, any difficulty? Guys, keep answering or else you'll go in sleep mode.
No, sir.
I'm telling you. Everybody. So do you remember what all I wrote in the balance sheet yesterday? When I created balance sheet yesterday, so we had here something called capital.
Liability.
So this, yes. So basically, this balance sheet, this is liability, liabilities, and this is asset. So in liability side, we discussed about capital. We discussed about profit and loss. We discussed about drawings. Okay. Then what else comes? We discussed about creditor. Yes. We discussed about bills payable. Yes. We discussed about a bank loan. We discussed about bank loan. What else we discussed? What else we discussed? If I give any loan to third party, other loans, other loan means, so we have given, not given, we have taken loan. Other loan means we have taken loan from third party. If you take loan from bank, it is called bank loan. If you take loan from any other person, let's say if Sham has given me loan, I'll write Sham's loan. So if you have taken loan from somebody else, and this is the money what we have to pay in future. So all these things are money which you have to pay in future. Liability means any money which business has to pay in future. Anything. Okay. Next we came on the asset side. Asset side, what did we record? Land. Any doubt what land is? Any doubt what land is? Okay. Any doubt what building is? Okay. This is purchase, not rent. Land means here means I've purchased the asset. I own it. When will I own it? When I buy it in my name, when I register in my name, that time only I'll record an asset. If I'm taking land and building on rent, the rent what I pay, that will come in my expenditure in trading in P&L. So the land and building which is coming on the asset side here, it is not on rent. This is, we have purchased it. Okay. Then we come across something called furniture, which means I own the furniture. And all this thing, land, building and furniture, I'm using in the business. Furniture I'm not selling, I'm using it. So I'm sure you must be knowing furniture. Can somebody tell me what is the meaning of plant and machinery? What is the meaning of plant and machinery?
Machines are used to make finished products.
Yes, so machinery you will understand. What do you mean by plant and machinery? So plant and machinery is nothing but, normally if you have small machines, then we call machinery. Plant and machinery is a huge setup where there'll be chain of machinery. You know, if I, let's say if I'm in the business of textile, if I'm making the, let's say a cloth material, right from, you know, taking the cotton, you know, I'll be in the process of converting the cotton into yarn, from yarn into, you know, cloth into your finished, what do you call, t-shirt or shirt. So right from cotton till I get the final finished product, there'll be nearly about 20 to 30 machineries which will be attached to one another. There'll be a chain, you know, once this is done, it'll go to here, then it'll go here, then it'll go here. You know, there'll be chain of machinery, the entire chain of machinery. So many machinery, it is called plant and machineries. Plant means it is a huge setup. There will be so many machineries, and in chain, in chain, by one, it will be transferred to next step. So that is what we call plant and machinery. It is a huge process. Are you getting the point? What is plant and machinery? If it is individual machinery, if only one machine is giving me the, if I'm able to manufacture any product with the help of one machinery, I call it as machinery. But if there is chain and series of machineries attached to one another, it is called plant and machinery. It is a huge setup. Yes. Then we discussed about stock. Stock is also known as inventory. Then we discussed about cash. You know what is cash in the business? If any money which is there in physical money, that is called cash. Then what else comes? Bank, which means in the bank, we have opened our account. In that account, we have deposited some money. So our money is there with bank. So in bank account, we have deposited our money. So this will come. What else will come? If I give any loans and advances, which means I have given any loan. I have given loan to somebody. So which means opposite person will repay the money in future. Hence it is asset. Correct? What else will come? Debtors. Debtors is my customer who has to pay me money. Bills receivable. Yes. And I said you that this land, building, plant and machinery is also called as fixed asset. It's called fixed asset. Correct? The three conditions has to be satisfied. What is that? Own. Then increase business or maintain business. And more than one financial year. More than one financial year. This is the definition of fixed asset. Is this point clear, guys? So let's come to the chapter 2. Let's see if we have covered all the definitions. So did I explain you what is the meaning of business transaction?
Yes, sir.
We discussed, so
Yes,
basically
sir.
in chapter 2, here they are given what are the various points that we are going to discuss. Okay. So I explained you what is business transaction. Did I explain you what is capital account?
Yes, sir.
Did I explain you what is liabilities? I explained you liabilities, but non-current and current is still pending. Non-current and current I have not taught, but I have explained you what is the meaning of assets. Yes.
Yes.
So this is alone pending. I have explained what is the meaning of asset, but
Yes, sir.
non-current asset, current asset, fictitious asset is pending. This is
Yes, sir.
pending. Fixed asset I explained you, but tangible asset, intangible asset I'll do in some time. This I'll explain now. This I'll explain now. Fixed asset I explained you. Tangible and intangible I'm yet to explain. Then receipt capital, this is pending. Receipt capital revenue expenditure is pending. Profit, did I explain you?
Yes, sir.
Did I explain you loss?
Yes, sir.
Purchase returns,
Yes, sir.
sales return,
Yes,
Yes, sir.
goods,
yes, sir.
trade receivables, which is debtor and bills receivable, both we did. We also did trade payables, which is creditors and bills payable. Yes. Then we discussed something called account. What is account? Sale account, cash account, bank account, furniture account. For each and every account, there'll be one ledger you'll prepare. So each and every item or transaction will have accounts. So this is account. I explained what is drawing.
Yes.
Did I explain what is purchase? Purchases we explained. Sales was explained. Stock and inventory is explained. Yes. Proprietor was explained.
Balance sheet.
Balance sheet is explained. Yes.
Credit.
So these,
Credit.
sorry, debit and credit is explained. Debit and credit I'm yet to explain. That I'll explain in detail when I come to chapter number 6 when we start today. I'll explain the meaning of debit and credit there, not here, because I'm yet to explain debit and credit meaning. I've not explained you. Yes. So remaining things we have to see one by one, which I'm yet to explain. So let's start with fixed asset, tangible and intangible. Non-current and current I'll take little later, not now because it will be too much confusing. So let's go to fixed assets. I think it should be in the top somewhere. Yeah, here it is. So fixed assets are those non-current assets of an enterprise which are held not to resell, but with the purpose to increase the earning capacity. Did I use this word yesterday? Increase the earning capacity. I told that there should be three purpose. One is you should own. If you have the ownership of the fixed asset, this is first condition. Second condition, it should help to increase the earning capacity of the business or help to maintain the earning capacity of the business. And third point was it should be for more than one financial year. It should be used, it should be usable for more than one financial year. So what is fixed asset? They have explained you. So fixed asset is further classified into two types. One is tangible fixed asset. Tangible assets means are those assets which have physical existence. This word is the key important. This is the key word. Physical existence. Tangible assets are those assets which have physical existence, which means they can be seen and touched. Example of tangible assets are land, building, machinery, computer, furniture. Can I see everything? Can I touch everything?
Yes.
Yes. So, okay. So which means that, sir, are there any other assets which are assets but we cannot see and touch? Yes. So those are called intangible assets. Intangible assets are those assets which do not have physical existence. They are not physically available to touch. They cannot be seen and they cannot be touched. Examples are of the intangibles are patent. What is the meaning of patent? Any idea what is patent? So let's suppose that I have created the drug for COVID-19. Okay, who am I? I'm a scientist. Let's assume. Okay, let's assume that I'm a scientist who have created a drug for COVID-19. If I create a drug, is it possible for me to go on and manufacture? I'm a scientist. I know only to create it. I only know to create the the drug. But just by creating the drug, will it go to people all over the world? So can I say there has to be a pharmaceutical company? There has to be a pharmaceutical company which has to take this formula and he has to manufacture it. After he manufacture, it will be distributed to the all the countries of the world. Do you agree with me? Do you agree with me?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
So this drug of COVID-19, everybody in this country or world is trying to, create it. So if let's suppose I have created this, can I give this formula to any Tom, Dick and Harry to manufacture? I have spent my whole 4 or 5 months of time, day and night without sleeping. I've created this drug. Can I give this formula to anybody just like that? So if this pharmaceutical company wants to get the formula from me, he has to pay me some money. He has to pay me some money. In return, I'll give something called patent. Patent means right. I'm giving you right to use my formula. So the company who's giving the money, that pharmaceutical company only will be getting the formula. So normally, if pharmaceutical company is giving money, we give physical item. If somebody gives money, if I am buying land, if I buy land, I give cash to the opposite person and opposite person will give me land. If I want to buy building, I will give money to the person to buy building and building will be given by the opposite person. So building is a physical thing which I can touch, but patent, formula, can you touch the formula? Can you touch the formula? So can I say this patent is the money which is given by the pharmaceutical company. So pharmaceutical company is giving rupees to get the patent. So in the balance sheet of pharmaceutical company, on the asset side, you will record patent. Why? Because can I say pharmaceutical company, since it has paid the money, it will own the patent. Yes or no? This pharmaceutical company has paid the money to get the formula. So can I say, if you pay something, you own it? When do you own it? When you get the ownership of something, when you pay it, right? When it comes under your control. So can I say pharmaceutical company is paying the amount, let's say 100 crore rupees to get the formula? Can I call this patent is owned now? Now it is owned by the pharmaceutical company. Because it is purchased the patent, it is purchased the formula. The pharmaceutical company has purchased the formula. So is my first criteria getting solved? Is my first criteria getting solved? I want an answer from everybody. Nikhil, Ayush, Rakesh,
Yes, sir.
Siddhi, Tanvi,
Yes.
Arman. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So this is something what I own. Second, if you want to put this patent under fixed asset, it either has to increase the revenue earning capacity or maintain the revenue earning capacity. Can I say with this formula, I'll create lot of medicines. This medicines will help me to earn the revenue. So can I say this patent what I'm paying in turn will help me to increase my business? Yes or no? Are you able to get that feeling? Are you able to get the vision?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Second, can I say this formula, this medicines, what you called the pharmaceutical company is manufacturing? Can I say this they'll manufacture for more than 1 year? So benefit of this patent is coming. The benefit of this patent, the usability of this patent is there for more than 1 year. So they'll manufacture this year, they'll manufacture next year, they'll manufacture for next so many years. So all the three conditions are satisfying. So it is coming under fixed asset. But are you able to touch the patent? Unlike land, building, plant, machinery, furniture and all, are you able to touch, physically see patent somewhere? Hence it is intangible. Hence it is intangible. Are you getting my point? Next is goodwill. Goodwill we'll discuss in detail when I come to your 12th standard. As of now, goodwill is nothing but the amount that is paid for reputation or the brand. If I have to go and acquire, let's suppose a Nike brand, Nike shoes, right? If I have to acquire Nike shoes, Nike showroom or Nike business will not give me the transfer his business just like that. He will ask something called goodwill, which is the money that I have to pay for his brand and reputation. So in 12th, in partnership chapter, in detail, I'll explain what is the meaning of goodwill. There's something called trademark, something called computer software. What is computer software? The software. I'm paying 25 lakh rupees to get a software called SAP. SAP is a software. Can I touch the software? Can you see the software?
No, sir.
No, right? So this is intangible assets. Can I say software is something what I own because I purchase it, and using the software it is helping me to either increase the business or maintain my revenue earning capacity of the business. And this software is something which I'll use for more than 1 year, So this is your intangible assets. Now, are we clear with what is tangible and intangible?
Yes, sir.
So as and when we proceed with accounting in 11th and 12th, you will come across so many other examples of intangible. So I'll explain you then and there. Because if I explain too many things right now, you'll get confused. So if this is done, we have to go to next point. So if I come back, please, boss.
So can you explain a little more about trademarks?
You want to know about trademark now itself?
Just a quick brief.
Trademark is, I would say that it is something like patent only. Patent is for let's suppose it is for formula, right? These kind of thing. Trademark and copyright is for some literature work. For example, let's say I have the logo of my business. Let's say you have the logo of KFC. If you want to take over the logo of KFC, this KFC would have done a trademark registration. Can I see? Trademark means what? Trademark means what? Trade means business mark. So can I see the logo of the KFC, or let's say the logo of Zoom, or the logo of YouTube? Can I say, looking at the logo, you're able to identify what that is? So can I say that logo is a kind of a mark for that particular business? Mark means impression of that business. So if I create a Fortune Academy, if I have my own logo, if I have Kalpvriksh Academy, my own logo, I will register the trademark, which means this is not supposed to be used by anybody else. So to register this trademark, I need to pay. So tomorrow, if I come and take over the trademark of KFC, then what will happen? I need to pay a lump sum amount. He will not give trademark just like that, because he'll tell that this trademark, I've built over a period of time. So you have to give a money for this in return. So that is called trademark, right? So I'm not going in too much detail. As and when we come across these kind of topics, right? So I'll tell in detail so that that will remain in your memory. So I explained you what is asset, non-current and current is pending. Let it go. Fixed asset, tangible, intangible is explained. Correct? Yes, sir. Receipts, capital, revenue. Let's say, let's talk about. All these things, I feel that it is better when I explain you as and when we come across the topics. I think roughly about 70% I've explained in this topic, and remaining things I feel that it is better I explain once little bit. The journal entry is over, because that's when you will relate and understand what is it. If I take the other parts now, I think there are many chances that you'll get confused. So books of accounts is explained, correct? If I'm not wrong. So depreciation, I'll explain in detail when I come to depreciation chapter, not now, because it will not make sense now. Bad debts, I'll explain when I come to final accounts. Book value, I'll explain when I come to depreciation chapter. Cost of goods sold also later in final accounts. Debit and credit, I'll take when 6th chapter is coming. Insolvent, rebate is all when in journal entry it will come. Financial statement, final accounts. Yeah, so financial statement and final account is nothing but if I have to prepare my trading and P&L account and my balance sheet. So trading and profit and loss account and balance sheet both put together is called financial statement or final accounts. I can just give a reading, nothing to worry. So everything, all this will be explained in the upcoming chapters. So this can be done today. This will be explained in the upcoming chapters. Entry in the upcoming chapters. Discount, trade discount, it will come in the chapter of journal entry. So there I'll explain in detail. I can explain you vouchers in the voucher chapter. Cost in the final accounts. Yeah, so I would feel that the remaining things I will explain as and when we come in the respective chapter, because in those respective chapters it is explained in detail. So now if we read also, nothing will go into our head. So I'll just wind up this second chapter with financial statements or final accounts. So financial statement or final accounts, this is the very important term. This is nothing but they are trading and profit and loss account, right? So this is a statement of profit and loss in case of companies, right? So generally trading and profit and loss account and balance sheet put together, both these put together is called final accounts. If somebody asks me to prepare final accounts, then I need to prepare trading and profit and loss account and balance sheet. If somebody asks me to prepare, please prepare the financial statements, which means they're indicating to prepare trading and profit and loss account and balance sheet. Getting my point? So this is financial statement. Solvent means what? Solvent means it is a person or enterprise which is in the position to pay debt. What is debt? So let's suppose that I have taken, business has taken loan from bank. So if business is able to pay the money in bank in future, then we call it a solvent. Solvent means solvent is a person or an enterprise. So business is an enterprise which is in position to pay the debt. If the business is in position, if business is having sufficient money to pay to the bank, then it is called solvent. If business is not having sufficient money, it is not in position to pay any debt, is called insolvent. Insolvent means the person or the business is not in position to pay any debt. So it is called insolvent. So insolvent is explained, solvent is explained. Any doubt in this, please? Then comes your proprietor. I said your proprietor is a person who invests. So a person who starts the business, who makes the investment in the business in form of capital, he is the person who bears all the risk associated with the business. If I'm starting Fortune's Fund Learning Academy, can I say all the risk that is involved in my business is something which I, as the owner, as the proprietor, I have to bear it. So proprietor is a person who starts a business by investing capital, and he's the person who bears he takes the responsibility of all the risk that is associated with the business. That person is called a proprietor. So proprietor is explained. Rebate I'll explain in detail when we come to the journal entry chapter, in chapter number 8. What is entry? A transaction and an event when recorded in the books of accounts is known as entry. So how do we, so what is recording? Recording means journal entry. Did we study that recording happens through journal entry? So journal entry means what? A transaction, an event when it is recorded, documented. When the process of recording, the process of documenting is called entry, journalizing. Entry. You have to record an entry. A transaction event when recorded, the process of recording in the books of account is called as entry. So entry is clear. What is the meaning of entity? Entity. An entity means an economic unit which performs the economic activities. So this is nothing but a business unit. Fortune Academy is an entity. It is an economic unit. Economic means what? What is economic? Any idea what is economic?
Which involves money, transactions.
In terms of money.
Correct. Anything which involves money is called
Money
economic. Yes, relating to money, profitability. So an entity which is an money-making unit, which performs money-related activities, purchase and sale, expenses. So these are called entity. So Reliance, the company which is owned by Mukesh Ambani, is an entity, business entity. We call it as a business entity. Bajaj Auto, Maruti, Tisco, all these are entity. A business entity means an enterprise established in accordance with law, which means it is created as per the law to engage in the business activities. So I said to you that there are so many types of entity. I have sole proprietorship entity where there is a single person as owner. Then we have partnership entity or partnership firm, which is a business entity where there are 2 or more people, where the minimum 2 people will join together to start a business. Then we have something called corporation, companies. Like that, there are so many entities options. I'll give you the list if you want. If I want to start business in India, I have the option to form the following business entities. I can start business entity in the following manner. I can start a sole proprietorship business entity. I can do partnership business entity.
Shareholders.
I can do, no, not shareholders. It is called as company. I can form a company business entity. Companies again of 2 types, rather 3 types. 1 person company, private limited company, then we have public limited company. Shareholder is the person. Shareholder is the owner of the business who has invested capital in the company. So we are talking about business entity, which business entity means the body in which you'll do the business, the form in which you'll do the business, company. Then we have something called LLP, limited liability partnership. We have something called corporation. You can start corporation also can do some business, which is done generally by the government. Then we have something called society. We have something called trust. Trust is again a business entity. We have something called HUF, Hindu Undivided Family. Okay, there's so many business entities, and each and every business entity has got a peculiar characteristics. And for each and every entity, there is a different act and law which government has framed it. So if I have to start a partnership business, then I need to follow the rules and regulations which is given in Indian Partnership Act. Indian Partnership Act 1932. What is Act? Act is nothing but this is a book. This is a book. In that, rules and regulations of partnership is given. So if you are in the business of partnership, you have to understand the rule book of Indian Partnership Act 1932 and accordingly follow it. If you don't follow according to this act, you will be punished. For companies, we have a separate rule book. For LLP, we have a separate rule book. For society, trust, each and every business entity, there are certain rules and regulations which has been framed by the government, which the entity has to follow. If you don't follow, there'll be penalties and punishments. So these are the various kind of the forms or the body in which you have to start. If I want to start any business today, I need to be any of these entities to start a business. So Fortune Academy is a sole proprietorship business. Kalpvriksha Academy is a sole proprietorship business. If I get, if I join my brother as my wife as a partner in this my academy, then it becomes a partnership business entity. They have to follow the rules and regulations of Indian Partnership Act 1932. So like that, there are so many forms in which you have to do the business, and you have to choose any one in this. You have to choose any one among this to start and do the business. Am I clear now? An accounting system is always devised for specific business entities. That is what it's called accounting entity. Now, for certain businesses, accounting rules will also slightly vary. 90% will be same, but 10% depending on the which kind of entity you are following, the rules of the accounting might change. Okay, not okay. That is why for in your 11th standard, you will learn accounting for a sole proprietorship in 11th standard. In 12th, you learn accounting for partnership. In 12th, you learn accounting for companies. LLP is not there in syllabus. Corporation is not there. Society and trust is there in 12th. So in 12th, you'll be learning 3 type of business entity. HUF is not there in your syllabus in accounts. So we'll have to understand how to do accounting for SP, how to do accounting for partnership, how to do accounting for company, how to do accounting for society and trust. There'll be a lot of changes. Rather, I would say that 60% will be common and 40% there'll be changed. In presentation, in the way you record the in the way you create the balance sheet, the way you create the trading and profit and loss account, the presentation, everything will get changed depending on the business entity. Okay, not okay.
So when will we learn about corporation?
Sorry, come again.
When will we learn about corporation and LLP?
Corporation LLP is not there in your syllabus. Maybe when you do CA or CS like program, in that you will learn about this in detail. In 11th and 12th, it is restricted only to sole proprietorship, partnership, company, society and trust.
Okay.
Right? Then all these things I'll discuss. So balance sheet we have discussed. So balance sheet is a statement of financial position of an individual or enterprise at a given date. So balance sheet is not prepared for the entire year. Whatever the balance sheet data is there, it will be as a particular date. For example, the balance sheet what I'm recording, what I'm creating here. The balance sheet what I'm creating here, this will tell me what is the land value as on a particular date. Let's say if I'm preparing balance sheet on 31st March, it will give me the position of the land, value of the land as on 31st March. It will give the position of the building value as on 31st March. It will give the position of the furniture value as on 31st March. It will give the position of the stock. Can I say stock will change every day? Yesterday my stock is 30. Today my stock is only 15. Tomorrow it will be only 10. So stock as on 31st March, what is the position of the stock? How much stock I have? What is the cash balance as on 31st March? Yesterday I had 1 lakh rupees cash. Today I am having 80,000 rupees cash. So every day the cash position will change. So likewise, the position of the major assets will change. Bank balance. What is the position of the bank balance as on 31st March? What is the position of the debtors? So this balance sheet is not for the entire year. It is as on particular date. It is as on a particular date. You're getting my point. But your trading and P&L account is not like that. The trading and P&L account is a account of statement which will show the value of the entire year. So if I record sale here, 10 lakh means this is not a sale on a, this is not a sale as on particular date. This is the sale for the entire financial year. The purchase what I record here, 6 lakh rupees. This is not the purchase of today alone. This is not a purchase on a particular date. This is the purchase of the entire year. So the trading and P&L account will give you the information of full year, right from April to March. Right from April to March. Whereas if you prepare balance sheet is not for the full year. It is on the particular date. On which date you're creating balance sheet, it will reflect the value of that date only. It is the value of that date only. So trading and P&L account is for the entire year, whereas balance sheet is only for that particular date. If you're preparing balance sheet on 31st January 2020, it is on 31st January position only. It is the position of 31st January. If you're preparing as on 1st April, then the balance sheet is as on the 1st April. The position of the assets and liabilities is as of 1st April. Are you able to understand this point? Guys, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Rest all things I'll explain as and when we come ahead in the upcoming chapters. So with this, we come to end of the first chapter, guys. I know there's something called, I need to explain you what is gain. There's something called revenue from operation. Outstanding prepaid is important, but not now, because if I tell this, you'll get confused. So I'll have a separate session to explain you what is the meaning of this. A separate chapter on expenditure type. What is capital expenditure? What is revenue expenditure? What is deferred revenue expenditure? There's a separate chapter where I'll give a lot of examples to make you understand this. What is revenue? Okay. So all this expenses we discussed. Expenses we discussed. So this is from your second chapters, guys. This is from your second chapter. So we come to the end of second chapter. So roughly about 70 to 80% I have covered now. And remaining, let's suppose 20% will be covered in the respective chapters with the adequate examples so that it will make sense to you. So guys, take a break now for 5 minutes. We'll come back and start with the next chapter.